Okay, so this is a product review for the Motorola MBP854 Connect. We bought this as a combination set with the monitor and the camera in one. The main reason we bought this was because the single monitor can connect up to 4 cameras, which is, when you've got more than one child, really convenient because you don't have to have multiple monitors. That really worked for us. There's a few on the market that do that, and this was quite new. The previous model was the 853. This was the new 854, so it seemed sensible to get this one here. The previous one we had was a Tommy TP one, but obviously when we had a second child we needed to get one that had 2 cameras. So there's a lot of reviews on the web about this, and a lot of YouTube videos about how good it is. They seem to be quite sort of like textbook and sort of going through to the I guess just reading the specifications, which on paper look really good, but using it, I'm not convinced it's that great. There are some things that are quite annoying about it, and so much so that I'm actually going to send my one back. Very limited but frustrating points, especially when you've come from another product before it doesn't have these things. So from a design perspective, it looks cool, it looks great. I'm not going to go into the great detail about it because there are loads of videos on the web about, you know, the design of it. I'm going to cut to the chase about the things that are frustrating. You can see one straight away. Again, this depends on your personal opinion of what would annoy you, but you can see there's no buttons on this. Okay, the only buttons you've got are the volume up down rocker and the on off button. That's it. There's a on off switch on this, but there's no physical buttons. Everything's done by these sort of soft buttons here, and they're flat. You know, it's essentially a touch screen. Now, you can see here they light up, which in principle looks quite cool. The thing we find is when we use the monitor, it's mainly when you're in bed at night, the baby makes a noise, you go to grab this, and again, we've all been there, it's a pitch black room, and these lights are absolutely piercing in the evening. It's really bright. So again, they're only small, but they're like an LED light there that comes on. Yes, you need to be able to see where they are, but quite frustrating. So that's the first thing that annoyed me. The other thing is the volume. This is much more of a functional issue that really is a pain. So when you're navigating through these menus, again, you know, depends if you're a single parent or not, but you know, we've got 2 of us in the same bed, 2 adults in the bed at the evening, and you know, one's sleeping and one's looking after the baby. You use the buttons and they make this beeping noise. You can just about hear it here. Obviously it won't pick it up. It's going to pick up so you can hear that beeping. Now essentially, turn it back down again because you can hear my voice coming back through. Every time you press one of these buttons, it makes a beep noise. So I thought, well, surely there's a way to disable that. So I went into the menu, which is this top guy here. Navigate. You can just see down all these options here. Navigate through the menu. There's no option to disable the soft button, lights or noise. The only way you can disable the noise of these buttons every time you press them is to turn the volume down, which in essence turns down the actual volume of the actual the playback in the camera room. So not only do you not hear the buttons, you don't hear the noise from the camera, which defeats the object of the product really. So it would be really cool if you could change or turn off the noises of these individual buttons. That would be really good. You can't. The only way you can do it is disabling the volume altogether, which I think is a really bad design because you know, you want to be able to hear your baby, but you might not want to hear these buttons. That's simple as that. It's on the latest firmware, so we've done an update. I thought maybe Motorola maybe produced a product update to fix that, but sadly this isn't the latest update, and that is still the same problem. On the volume point again, the other thing that's a frustration is this volume is the only way you can control your playback. So we've got another monitor here, which is our old one, Tommy TP. I think it's called the Summer. We've had this for years, and it's been pretty reliable. What you can't do you can't adjust the sensitivity. So a good example is in the summer we have a fan in our daughter's room because it gets hot, and the fan sort of activates the microphone on this all the time. So simple option, we turn the sensitivity down on the Tommy TP, and it basically cancels out the noise of the fan. If the baby cries, then obviously the playback comes through on this and everything is good. On the Motorola, annoyingly, there is no sensitivity option. The volume is pretty much set. So if you've got a fan or any ambient noise, it plays it quite vividly through it. The other thing that this does do, it has the ability to connect an app to it. And we found that the app, when you're connecting with your mobile phones, picks up a lot more sensitivity than this actual physical monitor does. So we end up using our mobiles more than we use this, just because this didn't seem to pick up much of the noise in the bedroom. And sometimes we weren't using our mobiles, the baby was crying, this wouldn't pick it up. But there's no way to change the sensitivity. So I said this is going to be a very quick video. Those are 3 things that are quite frustrating. The other thing to bear in mind with this is this isn't necessarily a major criticism. There's a blue light on this. Yes, on most cameras that are infrared, they'll have the red lights on them. It's the part of the design. It needs it to display, nighttime vision. This LED light here has nothing to do with the functionality of the product, and it persistently flashes in the room. So I covered that with a high-tech piece of blue tack to cancel it. It doesn't affect the product, but again, it goes back to why does that LED light need to be on? The reason why I've got this bit of blue tack as well. Again, this is not the end of the world, but you can adjust with this. It's quite a cool design of it, but again, it's let down by some other features. You can adjust the pan, tilt, and sideways movement of the camera. But when you go to maximum down, so if I do this and I move it down, you should be able to see. Yeah, it's obviously deciding not to work for me right now, maybe because I'm criticising him. But you press this and essentially he can move the camera left and right. Yeah, he's definitely not liking me. But ultimately, the maximum tilt, so we have this on a shelf in our daughter's bedroom, the maximum tilt this can go to is not enough to see anything lower than probably sort of like the horizon. So a bit of blue tack, stick that on there, and we have it permanently sort of like at that angle, so it's like showing down. It's not the end of the world, and there's a few reports of this on the web, people moaning about it, but really that doesn't bother me, because once that's in situ, it's fine. But the functionality of that is just not up to grade. It has got some little holes in the back here, so you can put some screws into the wall, and then you can sort of mount it sort of that way, and then you'd get a pretty good viewing angle if you want to drill into your wall. So yeah, really, in principle, the idea of this is really good, but sadly it's let down by some really major features. If you're not fussy about beeping noises at sort of like 3 o'clock in the morning, you won't be fussed about this. If you're not fussed about bright LED lights at stupid o'clock in the morning, you won't be fussed about this either. And if you're not fussed about the sensitivity of the playback, which I think is quite crucial to what you're trying to do here, then again, you're not going to be worried. So go ahead and buy this product. For me, this is sadly, Motorola have just missed a few key things in this to make it really the perfect product. So yeah, it's going back to the supplier, sadly for us. That's it. Cheers. Bye bye.